Welcome to Board Game Empire. Today we're going to do an overview and review of Mindbug. Now, this is a card drafting game. We really enjoyed this game. So we're just going to pretty much present it and talk about how you play it. So the way you first start is you're going to give each individual player 2 Mindbugs. And then each player will also have 10 cards. The first 5 cards are going to be used in your hand. The second 5 cards are going to be used for drafting throughout the game. You only start out with 10 cards. So pretty much your deck, you're going to be shuffling all the cards and giving each player 10 cards. Okay, so we're going to talk about each individual pretty much like tough. With tough, if the card would be defeated and isn't exhausted instead of defeating it. So that's what tough does. Pretty much like here's 4. What you do is like that. Pretty much it has 2 lives is what tough represents. Now there are cards like this one, the Sluggernaut, which has tough but also has frenzy or hunter if you want it there, frenzy if you want it this way. Now, there's also Frenzy. Now, Frenzy, if the card survives in first attack during a turn, it can attack a second time this turn.
Yeah, basically you can attack again. So, like, let's say you use Frenzy, it killed this one, then you could go again and kill, like, this one, for example.
Okay. Then there's Hunter. Hunter, when you attack with a Hunter instead of the opponent, you may choose an enemy creature who has to block it.
You choose. Normally, the person who's being attacked chooses, but this time with Hunter, you choose. So let's say you chose the Ratomancer. They would have to block with that character because they don't choose because you have Hunter.
Okay, then there's also Poison. Poison is pretty simple. In addition to a normal combat resolution, this creature always defeats the enemy creature, even if the power value is less than the enemy power value. So even if, let's see, the poison has 2. If an attacker that has 8 attacks it, it would still pretty much be a stalemate because the 2 has poison, it would kill the 8, and then the 2 will also die. Now, this is the one that it's hard to defend against, and it's a game changer if you have it. And so, Sneaky, defeat enemy Sneaky, pretty much this creature can only be blocked by sneaky creatures.
And there's a character called Ferret Spawner, and that character has Sneaky and is overpowered.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also another character with poisons. It's called the Axolotl Healer. Basically what it does is it gives you 2 life points, and in certain situations we actually had this happen in a game. We had to start over because both of us had it, and we would always discard it. So every time we discard it, it would go right back to our hand. So we were reaching points where we had to use like 2 or 3 dice to indicate our health, and it was never going to end. We didn't have the cards to beat it.
Yep. So then there's also in each individual, you'll have like defeat a creature, play, and that's pretty much when you play the card.
Attack.
It pretty much does the effect. And attack, of course, when you attack it when you're attacking with that creature.
There's one thing to know. If you Mindbug a character with a play effect, the opponent who Mindbugged it will instead play the play effect.
Yeah, and so the only time you can Mindbug, which means pretty much take control of an opponent's character, is when that opponent is playing that character for the first time on the board. And so Mindbug allows you to pretty much take over an opponent's character, but you have to flip it over. You only get 2 at a time, and it's that simple. Now, the life points, you start out with 3 life points. You can go above that because there are characters to give you 2 life points, and so you could just keep going over. We use dice. These are not... do not come with the game. You could use cards, you could use dice, so whatever you have. But this is pretty much how you play the game. And so you're just playing turn by turn, trying to defeat each card. The highest number wins. Snake, you can't block. Poison kills if you block with it, Hunter, allows you to do different things. Frenzy, Tough. Tough is 2. Pretty much you got 2 lives. So pretty simple game.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the whole game?
I think the game was a fun, unique game. Some of the cards are a little bit too strong. I think they need to, nerf the actual law bomber. That character is kind of brutal. But giving yourself life points, I think, not actually, nerfing the card, I think there should be an implemented rule where a player can only have so many life points. I just thought on a player can only have 3 life points at one time. And you could use it to heal yourself back up. Because anything over 3 is kind of overpowered. Because you have to think about, you would have to knock out your opponent with no blockers 5 different times.
Yeah, this game can vary from 20 minutes to hours. And we were
never end.
We're at the point where we're at 50 minutes and we're just we already used our mind bugs and everything. And so we were at a stalemate because we were at a stalemate for over 15, 20 minutes. And so we were just going back and forth, and both of us didn't have the sneak characters, so it was impossible for us to bypass any defense, and so we would play probably 3-4 hours, and so we had to stop at that point. So there are at certain times where you will be at stalemate because it could be infinite amount of time. And then also there's 20 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. In regular game, it's 40 minutes. We play several times. I think we played 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did you like about the design, the mechanics, illustration?
I like the designs. I like the design. Some of the characters, for basically all of them are a mix of animals combined with other animals or items or mythical creatures. Basically everything has something to do with animals or insects, which is pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah. But
what's your favorite part of the mechanics? Or what cards are your favorite?
My favorite card?
Or combos?
My favorite combo is my favorite combo overall is basically I have a card about the dinosaur thing. I forget what it's called. I think I have it. No, I have it in my other hand. I know I have it. Here we go. Kingosaurus Rex. Defeat all enemy creatures with power 4 or less. And the reason why that's good is because every single character with Sneaky has power 4 or less from what I've noticed. So then I just play my Ferret Bomber, which is the strongest Sneaky card, and then I just use that and I just cut through his defenses. I use that combo to beat him when I thought I was losing during the game.
Oh, that's another thing I forgot to state. When you defeat a character, it pretty much goes through your discard pile, so you're always recycling the same cards. So over time, if you're a card reader, you'll be able to recognize and know what cards your opponent has.
Yeah, the thing I like about them is that you don't even have to attack to do it. When you play it, defeats all of them. And I don't know if you noticed, every single Sneaky card is power 4 or less.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any Sneaky card that had higher than 3 power. So that combined with the Ferret Bomber, which is a Sneaky, is pretty overpowered.
Yeah. So what did you think overall rating?
I would give it 8.1 because I just feel like it's a really good concept, but some of the characters are just unbalanced and the game could last way too long.
Yeah. Right. So for me, I really like the design illustrations of the game. I like the mind bug aspect too, where you could take control of your opponent's characters. I think that's a great idea. Then there's also the tough, where you get to pretty much, it's almost like having 2 units. I would say the sneaky is probably pretty much the most overpowered, because unless your opponent has a sneaky, it's almost impossible to block. So that's where you get in the 20-minute time length in gameplay, because if someone has a sneaky and your opponent already used their mind bugs and everything and pretty much kept it in their hand the whole time and there's only one sneaky, then the game ends quick. Whereas if you have like the dinosaur one, which it's really a great character that pretty much could prolong the game and allow you to do other things. So it's all determined on what you get. Because you remember at the beginning of the game, you only get 10 cards per player, 5 in your hand at first, and then you have 5 discard or 5 draft.
I was looking for those 2 cards, but they must be in the box. We obviously don't have them.
Yeah, there's 20 cards in total that you'll be shuffling, but I can't wait to see more expansion to this game.
Yeah.
I think it's something that needs also to offset the sneaky. Sneaky is a little bit too overpowered.
I know.
Pretty much, you're going to be using your mind bug instantly if your opponent has sneaky. So that's the one thing you're going to want to get. Because if you can control all the sneaky characters, you pretty much won the game.
Yeah. The thing is, though, if you don't have a sneaky and don't have the T-Rex, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah, well, even if you have the T-Rex, if you don't have all this, if you have no sneaky to defend against the sneaky, game's over.
Yeah.
Your opponent wins.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. And so for me, I'm giving it 8 out of 10. I think it's a great game. We had a blast playing this. We played several times. What?
It's one of those games that you have to play multiple times because a lot of times your first game is going to be a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
And with our first game, it was like, eh. And our second game was, that's pretty fun. Our third game was, eh. It's like mixed. It's like a 50-50.
Yeah.
You're going to play games that are just, eh. And then you're also going to play games that are like, that was pretty good.
Yeah, and so it's all determined on your cards you get.
Yeah.
And so I think with more implementation, more cards, more abilities, more things you could do, it's going to level up the game, how much you enjoy it. So this is a great concept. I can see it growing. And because it's an actual deck game, it's not a TCG where you have to buy packs and everything. They're already pretty much set. I think that this is a great way to introduce, younger players to card games rather than TCG and having to spend all that money, and still have some of that same mechanics and some of the same feelings you get when you're playing the card games.
I could see them implement this into a TCG though eventually.
Yeah.
Like these same mechanics. However, I think they'd have to tone it down a bit because the characters for Sneaky would probably cost a lot of money.
Yeah. So, really enjoy this game. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Social media is down below in the description. We will have a link of where to buy the game, and we'll see you in the next video.